rallies last night. Some of the worst scenes were in Manchester. Police admitted to being overwhelmed by the rioting in the city centre. More than 100 people there have been arrested. Now, in Birmingham, the police have launched a murder inquiry into the deaths of 3 men from the Asian community who were knocked down by a car. It's thought the men had just left a mosque, and friends say they were protecting their neighbourhood from looting. The police have arrested a man and recovered a vehicle. And London last night experienced relative calm after widespread rioting on Monday, with the number of police officers in the capital increased by 10,000 from the night before. The British Prime Minister David Cameron has said the fight back is underway against the rioters who brought fear to the streets. He was speaking after a 4th night of rioting and looting.
Today, major police operations are underway, as I speak, to arrest the criminals who were not picked up last night, but who were picked up on closed-circuit television cameras. Picture by picture, these criminals are being identified and arrested, and we will not let any phony concerns about human rights get in the way of the publication of these pictures and the arrest of these individuals. As I speak, sentences are also being passed. Courts sat through the night last night and will do again tonight. It is for the courts to sentence, but I would expect anyone convicted of violent disorder will be sent to prison. We needed a fight back, and a fight back is underway. We have seen the worst of Britain, but I also believe we've seen some of the best of Britain. The 1 million people who've signed up on Facebook to support the police. Communities coming together in the clean-up operations. But there is absolutely no room for complacency, and there is much more to be done.
Let's get more now on the events from that political perspective. Our correspondent Naomi Grimley is at Westminster for us. So Naomi, the British government accused of being on the back foot over this, very much trying to take the initiative here now.
Yes, exactly. David Cameron promising even more robust policing over the next few hours were unrest to spark up again tonight. He's saying that if necessary, they can deploy water cannon, which are actually kept in Northern Ireland, but they could use them on the mainland in Britain at 24 hours notice. Also saying that the police would be prepared to use plastic bullets as well. That again would be controversial. But the reason why he's doing that is because it's pretty clear that the public want a tougher response. There are great concerns that the initial response to the rioting, particularly on Saturday in Tottenham in North London, was too soft, and that the police stood by while a lot of the looting went on. So that is why David Cameron feels he's got to play catch-up here.
Theresa May, however, the British Home Secretary, just in the past 15 minutes or so, saying this robust policing approach will continue. But if they're moving tens of thousands of police officers into London from the neighbouring counties, how do they keep that going? How do they sustain it?
Well, I think you've touched on that, exactly the problem, because what they've done is cancel a lot of police leave. Now, obviously, a lot of policemen would be away on holiday around this time. They've cancelled that, and they've beefed up the policing to these massive numbers, 16,000 on the streets of London last night. But although they say they are going to continue with that strategy, it's obviously not very sustainable in the long term. So that's a big problem for David Cameron, and that's why today some people, including the Mayor of London, who's actually from the same party as David Cameron, have questioned whether police budget should be cut as part of the austerity programme. So a really tricky one for David Cameron.
Naomi, thanks very much. You can get lots more, of course, on that story on our website, bbc.com/news. Let's just get the very latest as to what's been going on as well in England's second city, Birmingham.
After the chaos, the tragedy. 3 young Asian men on the streets to stop the looting, run down and killed. Eyewitnesses say this was a hit and run. The car did not stop.
A car came flying, a bunch of lads were standing there, come flying, took out 3 of the guys, they were flying into midair, landed and they just gone off, that's it. 6-7 seconds it was all over, and 3 of our boys basically, we don't know if they're going to survive, landed in hospital.
In shock, the Asian community gathered at the local hospital where their friends had been taken. Then confirmation of the news they'd been dreading. And with it, grief. and anger.
It's been a night here when violent disorder has given way to something perhaps even more serious. This community was already feeling under siege. Now it is dealing with tragedy.
Today the police have been highly visible. A murder inquiry is underway. But for the Asian community here, this is all too late. They say a police presence on the streets last night would have meant that their young men would have stayed at home.
I've got a cool picture of him when he was younger.
Tariq Jahan's 21-year-old son, Haroon, was one of those who died.
He was trying to help his community, and he's been killed. He's a very well-liked kid.
Nice lad he was.
He was, and I can't describe to anyone what it feels like to lose your son.
There's no doubt that the police here have been at full stretch with overnight looting in Birmingham, West Bromwich and Wolverhampton. And in Nottingham, still more violence with a police station under petrol bomb attack.
That report from our news correspondent Jeremy Cook there. To other news now. The Libyan government has accused NATO of killing 85 civilians